I'm like a house that's, kind of dilapidated. But you know what? God's all about redemption. He makes something great out of what we've made a mess out of. We have a fallen nature. And so I can guarantee you that we will fail, and that's kind of how I would try and talk to my kids. I'm going to blow it. Be prepared. I don't mean to, I don't want to, I want to be the perfect dad, but it isn't going to happen. So be prepared for it, but also know that I love you. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I got into pornography at a very young age, and I've never had a clear visual God-given how God felt about sex. I've only had this fantasy vision of sex, and so it was very tainted. And so normal sexual activities were just kind of blasé to me. And so that's the kind of thing I would like to, boy, if I could, redo it with my son. Luckily, God, not luckily, but with God, he was able to work past that, and my son's not struggling with the same things that I did. I think I would be more honest about how I feel about sex and the things that I've struggled with, the temptations, and rather than so clinical, kind of put it on a more personal level and say, hey, this is how it is, and give them God's perspective on sex, and then why premarital sex or pornography and stuff like that can really mess it up. It is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable anytime you talk about sex, especially any perversions in sex. If you were going to give a clinical thing where you just had all the right pictures and you'd watched all the things and knew exactly all the right things, it would still be a little awkward, but you'd kind of lose the focus. But when you're doing a one-on-one, face-to-face, and really wanting to tell them as it is, what it's like out in the real world and how the world has perverted sex and the things that we got to watch out for. One good thing that would be if you're Christian, a father and son, is to go through the Proverbs. Proverbs are very good about warning young men about staying away from the adulterous woman, and so it's always good to start with the Bible and end with the Bible and stick with the Bible all the way through. Your son has to feel that no matter what he does, whether he fails or whether he succeeds, it's always okay, and you do the best to help him in the areas that they're weak, and you'll just be there for them. Once the culture establishes it's okay, and right now our culture is it's okay. In fact, they're going to have friends no matter what I did. If I put the filters and everything else and the accountability software, he's not always at home. He's going to have friends, and now with telephones and all that stuff, you can get the internet on there. He's going to see it. Be proactive and say, you will run into this stuff, you will find it exciting, but let's keep it on a biblical perspective. God doesn't call sin because it's forbidden. He forbids it because it's bad. It's not bad because it's forbidden because it's bad. And so God put these directives not to be a cosmic killjoy, but that he knows what's going to happen in the future. And I can attest to that because I didn't follow biblical guidelines as far as sex goes, and I've pretty messed up. Because of the fact that you can be real and say, I messed up, I've been down this road, I can tell you what happens, I can tell you how you're going to feel, and I can tell you now everybody's different, everybody comes to a degree, of sexual, whether they're just tempted by it or whether it becomes an addiction, and there's areas in between, but you will be affected one way or the other. As to how you deal with it, that's totally different because everybody's different. I'm into restoration. I think that's really cool. I'd rather see somebody go and do a remodel than to do, because of the fact that it's like, that's what God does with us. If you put something in there that doesn't fit, it doesn't right, well, that's the tribulations that we go through. That's the grinding and the sanding and the pruning and the cutting and recuts, but it all works out. We can't handle it by ourselves. If we could have been good, Jesus wouldn't have had to die for our sin. our spirit may be willing, but our flesh is weak, and God knows that. It's not just praying. There's, the devotion. That's why I'm so pleased with your hardware, your package, your toolkits and stuff. It's because there's something there. It's not just saying, just say no, like, the Nancy Reagan thing, and just say no. It's like, no, it's a little more involved than that. There's God's part, but then there's our part. I think we have an opportunity, but we have a better opportunity if we're open with them and say, I've struggled in this area. It will always be a struggle. There's no little magic ding that just takes it all away, but you learn how to deal with it. And one thing that God has shown me, because I always, when I was struggling with pornography and everything, it's like, oh, God, just take it away. And God says, that would bring me no glory. There is no victory without a battle.